Hello, welcome to Practically Magic. I am one of your hosts, Courtney Pearl, and this is
Jamie Osbar
with Rising Moon Minerals.
Yeah.
And that's what lovely shop we are in today. This is our, I think, 12th episode of the season. Can you believe that?
Yes, I can.
We've been here doing this every week for you. All right. So we have a lot of cool things to talk about today. I'm excited. Let's pull a card. You should go check out our new photos. We just had a photo shoot. Carolina Burton Photography did that for us right here in the shop and around the shop. And I think they turned out really good. What did you think?
Yeah, I think they turned out great.
Made us look glamorous. Made us look like we belong in the entertainment industry.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not
stars.
the type of person who likes to have my photo taken. She made it
Beautiful.
She made it painless.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with the results. So,
do you know what I love about her pictures, though? She's done a couple pictures for like family photos and things. I think she likes doing branding like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like she has a gift for capturing the like soul of a person. And I don't know how,
Yeah.
I don't know how that's different than anyone else taking a good photo, but there's just a way she can get that out of you.
The way that I felt with her, it was just like, don't think about it. Don't pose. Don't do certain things. Just be yourself. And I thought that was really cool because even then I was like, well, I don't know how to be myself because you have a camera on me and I don't want to look like an idiot. So there was still like a little bit there, but it was easier, especially being in the space and being around the crystals and kind of being in my element. It made it easier to kind of just settle into myself and not think so much about what I look like, but more about what it felt like. So that was really cool.
I'll do anything. She does with like the kids when we've had family photos. She'll just have them like, okay, just have the whole family, stand here and then just walk towards me. But I love. She did my photo shoot back when I first started Practically Magic, and the pictures I used there for Prism Healing and for the podcast, I did an outfit change so that there'd be separation of the two. But it was such a fun day and I feel like everybody should go get a photo shoot by somebody who does this. Super great confidence booster. Makes you feel awesome. But she's one of those that will be like, oh, yes. Oh, well, you're taking a picture, like you'll pose just right. And she'll go, oh, yes. Oh, queen. Oh, you look fierce. Like she builds you up and it makes you feel like, oh man, I must really look good. Killing this.
Yes.
And it may not be true. I don't know. But she has a way of just making you feel like the star. And you're like, all right, we're doing this.
Yeah. No, she did a great job and I'm happy. Do you have the new pictures on the website?
Well, they're getting out there slowly. I'm going through them. I'm favoriting my favorites. And then, there's a bunch of great ones that'll be the two of us together. We teased and joked that we were like engagement photos. So we're like back to back and like sitting in a chair and standing up and
my
hand on the shoulder, which was kind of fun. And I love being a little silly with it. I think that for the podcast, it's more frivolous and silly and a little bit making fun of myself rather than being real serious. Because with Prism Healing, I try to take it this is sacred work. I really take it seriously. I consider myself a professional. Podcasting, it's a little bit more in the entertainment industry. So you're just like, here's me and my witchy self. All right. Are you ready for our card today? So I am pulling from Spencer Gifts Prism. It does not have a guidebook, but it does have really cool like holographic cards. And what I love about this, because it's October, it's witchy season, it's Halloween season, each card, all of the major arcana, all of the minor arcana, all the cards, each card has its own kind of mythic creature to go with it. It's fun for this time of year. I often bring this deck out for if I'm hired to do card readings at events. This one is like more fun. So our card today is Frankenstein.
Perfect.
I'm going to show the card on the video so you can see. And it's very prismy and holographic.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I love about it. But it's the 9 of Pentacles, which is interesting because I think of this as the story of Frankenstein's monster, which is that he's dead. There's all this work and science and electricity being pumped into this dead corpse to bring it to life. I think the 9 of Pentacles is that I'm about to achieve something that I've been working really hard on, and I've gone through a whole journey to get. And I might even be at the point where I've like lost hope, where I'm like, this is not working. I don't think this is going to happen. And then it's just that one ingredient or one step left to achieve it, like to grasp it, to have it come to life. Do you feel like anything like that has been happening for you?
Oh my gosh, yes.
How does that feel to you?
It feels like how I've been feeling lately. Being a small business owner, I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like trying to describe labor and delivery. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
100%.
it's so, I have so much love and so much passion and so much desire for this business to grow and to provide for me. But right now it's not quite there, right? Like it's, and when you say I'm at the end of the journey, I know I'm not at the end of the journey. We're only like a year and a half in to this shop being here and
this cycle journey, not necessarily the whole journey,
right.
but
so
the cycle.
I feel like it is kind of the end of that cycle. I've been flirting with the idea of looking at a new location and growing it from just a crystal shop to being a place where we can offer other healing modalities and events, things like that. And that's still there. That's still part of my dream. And it always actually has been. It's just that a lot of times you take your dream and you break it into doable pieces, right? Mm-hmm. So what was doable and what I had available to me is what's come to fruition here, the crystal shop. And, you know, I get the question a lot. Do you do events? Do you do card readings? Do you do healing sessions? Do you provide any of the other things that come along with the crystals? And I'm like, I want to. Believe me, I really want to. So I feel that way. And then there are times that I'm like, this just isn't working. It's just not working. I'm not making a paycheck. I can't even cover my bills. Maybe it's just time to just let it go.
Yeah. I think you're not alone there, especially small business owners. We're part of like a local networking group. And I think the best part about our group is that it's so not like a typical networking group. Mm-hmm. We come together, I think, because it's not just networking. A lot of us show up every week and it's the same people. Mm. So we're not necessarily going to stand up and pitch our business every week to people who already know who we are and what we do. But what keeps us coming back and why we go is because everybody's kind of in the same boat. They're all thinking and feeling that same way. And we get through these. I have absolutely cried in our networking group. Like I've gone there just being like, it's not working. I don't think this is going to work. I'm never going to be successful at this. And nobody buys anything and nobody wants my stuff that I have to offer. And nobody comes to my events. And they're like, and I'm like, just crying. And they're so sweet that some of the people in that group have like left me a gift on my doorstep after a crying session at the networking meeting. It only happened once or twice. Just being like, we've all felt that. And some of us are like, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to bag groceries at Harmon's. I don't even care. I just want to be able to make some money, but finally at this. And we all deserve that, even if our work is in the healing world. I think it's harder for us because we want to offer what we can offer to everyone. We want to be like, everybody should get what I have. Yes. I shouldn't have to make any money. I should just be able to give it and do it for free. But then you're like, no, but I actually do want to earn a living. Right. And I do
I can't earn a living if I'm just constantly giving. Yeah. Giving. I'm not quite at that because obviously I have a product. So it's not like people come in and I'm just like, oh, you want that? Okay, you can just have it. That's not how that really works. But there are times that I give discounts or, my larger pieces, my statement pieces that are higher in price, I will tell people, hey, if that's something that you really want, make me an offer.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'll come to a deal and I never really come to a deal where it's like I'm losing or that they're way overpaying, anything like that. It's more of like what works for both of us. So a lot of times it works out. So I'm not quite there where you are, but I see where you're coming from. Yeah. I know that feeling.
You have to justify that everything, at the Institute of Healing Arts where I was certified, they were like doing business ethics training with us too. And, how to be ethical in your business. And they were like, listen, you need to write a resume for yourself. like as if you're hiring yourself for the business that you're about to do. And then say, this is everything that I'm qualified. Like I have life experience. I have, all of the training that I've been through, all of my own healing journey, like where I've come out of a dark place and how I did that. And just when you start piling up all of the things, you're like, I am so qualified for this.
Right.
And I am so much a professional. I've heard people accuse, a just starting out person like me who has a business and I'm the only employee. I'm doing it myself. And they're like, not as professional, or there have been certain comments made. And I'm like, I feel that I am just as much a professional as the real estate agent, as the insurance broker, as the, anybody else who's at this networking group, this plumber, this electrician, all of these professionals doing their job and having their business. I don't think of myself as any less of a professional than any of them.
Yeah, and you should,
because I know what the work I've put in to be here and the studying that I've done. I would equate it to a master's degree in all of the books I've read and the essays that I've written and the work that I've done, my thesis on healing, the importance of healing.
The money that you've put into it.
Oh
right?
yeah. The investment the
financial investment that you've done. So yeah, I'm not on that level where I feel like I have any sort of degree, but learning to listen to myself, my intuition, and step into the role of being a guide. I feel very strongly about being a guide.
Yeah.
Right. Like I've had a hard time for a while trying to figure out what I call myself. I am obviously a crystal shop owner.
Yeah.
I'm a small business owner, but what role do I actually play within that structure? Because that's the outer shell, right? So when you step into my space, who am I? Yes, I'm the owner. Yes, I'm the one that brings all the crystals in. I'm the one that pays the bills. I'm all those things. But when it comes to the relationship I have with the crystals and how I'm able to connect people to the crystals, then I feel like the word guide is very powerful and it's what fits me. I didn't go through any specific training. I've taken some classes.
You have a knack for remembering the details of.
Right. And that's where I stepped.
So many.
I feel like I stepped into my power. Was a lot of times people come in and they're like, oh, well, what's this? Oh, well, what's that? And they can read the cards that I have in here. But a lot of times people want to hear it. They want to talk to people about it. They want to understand. It's one thing to read a card, but it's another thing to actually hear it from someone who feels it. Right. So being able to just say, like, I feel like I'm a conduit sometimes where the messages come through me to the people that need to hear it. And sometimes that sounds quote unquote crazy, right? And you get that a lot. This might sound crazy, but I feel like this crystal is what
don't feed them with that perspective right from the start. They can think it's crazy if they want, but
but I don't need to give that. I don't need to put that energy out there. So it's more of, this is the message that I'm receiving, and how you want to receive it and how you want to perceive it is going to be up to you. It's my job as the guide to deliver the message.
Yes.
Right? So a lot of times people are very open and very accepting and want to hear the message. And then there are other people that are like, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Either way, I feel like it's my responsibility to deliver the message and open the conversation. And even if in the moment they're not receptive, it's something that could possibly play back later, right? Sometimes those messages come back up in other conversations with other people or during your meditation, or I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations like this with other people that those messages come back and I'm like, oh my gosh, so that message came to me. I wasn't ready in that moment to receive and process that, but here it is coming back to me again. And sometimes it's comes back and it comes back until I'm actually ready.
Yeah. The universe has a way of doing that, especially for tarot readers. You'll find that tarot readers will get to a point where I'm trying to think of who it was that was doing this, but we were kind of at a gathering and someone was like, hey, do you want me to read your cards for you? And they were like, no, because I already know what's going to come up. They're like, really? And they're like, yeah, it's the same thing that's been coming up. It's like, I can read cards for myself, the same card will come up again and again and again, almost like hitting you on the head. Like it's going to keep coming until you get it. Like it's not going to change. And I think that happens a lot for card readers because they're like, I already know what's going to come up. It's the same thing that's been coming up for a month. And it's just going to keep coming up until I can address it, can move through it and get the message and figure out what this means for me. Yeah. But I agree with you in that the word guide, the title of guide feels right. I struggled, I still do, with exactly what title I'm supposed to use to offer what I do to people, because I feel like if I say healing facilitator, it sounds a little too logical.
A little cold.
A little cold.
Yeah.
But I facilitate the healing experience. I don't actually think of myself as a healer. And I think that anybody doing this kind of work would agree with me if they're ethical about it, which is, it's not us doing it. We're just guiding you with our knowledge and experience through the healing work that you're doing.
Right.
When I would do an emotional process session with someone's inner child, they would be like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Thank you so much for this session. And I go, it's not me. Thank your inner child for showing up for you today. It was your 7-year-old self that really did this work today. And you can thank her for that. And sometimes during a guided session, I will say, I feel like intuition is telling me that your child feels this or needs to say this to you. And then I will say, does that resonate with you? Or does that feel like that fits? If they feel a little bit stuck or they feel like they're just not quite getting there, sometimes my intuition helps get us there. But for the most part, I will only do that if they're stuck. I won't offer anything up. And I think sometimes healers, when they first start out with this work, they want to prove themselves so much that they'll try to, oh, I have a message for you. Yeah. This is what you need to know. And I'm guilty of that. In the beginning, it was like, how do I show up?
How do I prove
that I know what I'm doing, and that I have these intuitive gifts if I don't say what comes through? But it's not always my place to say what comes through. It's their place to get there. So guide feels like a nice, gentle, like, I'll hold your hand and we'll get through this together.
Right.
We have what it takes.
Right. It's up to the individual to do the actual work. We're just here to facilitate is a good word, but it's also kind of one of those that's a little cold, a little scientific almost. Like a lot of people don't know how to process the word facilitate. So guide feels a little gentle, a little more low key.
Yeah.
A little easier for people to go, oh, okay, I know what that means. Not to say that facilitate is like a big word, like a metaphor.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of the wording that they use at the school where I went. And you're facilitating the session for sure. But when I did priestess training, I loved the title priestess because of the definition they give, which is empowerment midwife. And I love that title as well, although I can't use that either because I feel like people would be like, wait, so you deliver babies? Like what?
No.
And that's hard to, I don't know, market yourself or brand yourself. So, but I love the idea of if I say I'm a priestess, that means that I am of service. And that I loved. I loved the idea of the ancient, how I viewed the ancient priestesses of Avalon who would have been the ones going and maybe they did midwifery, maybe they did medicine, maybe they did healing, maybe they did magic, but they did it in service of others and source. So actually, that's a great segue because we're going to talk about the crown chakra. So when we talk about source, service to source, what that actually means, and we're not going to get too religious with it because a lot of people have an issue with if I say higher power or if I say God, there's a lot of connotation to that, a lot of cultural and religious, like in Utah, in the Mormon culture. When you say Heavenly Father, that is a thing. Doesn't that just have like a feeling about it? Because it's culturally not really appropriate to use the word God. I learned early on in my youth, which was they don't say God in that religion. Yes. They say Heavenly Father.
Yes. But you're also not allowed to say, oh my God.
No.
That's inappropriate.
Yeah. Taking the Lord's name in vain, which is I had this great conversation with my 11-year-old just 2 days ago about, he was like, what does it mean to take a name in vain? What does that mean? And I'm like, well, a lot of people think it means, but what it actually means. And we had this conversation about taking the Lord's name in vain being like, not just saying, oh my God, those are just words. Those are just, I don't truly, truly believe that if there was a God or Heavenly Father, he was like, I care so much about you using that word. I don't believe that. But just saying, doing things in the name of God, even harming people or doing actions that are what you personally believe in the name of God is taking their name in vain. But
yeah, that's new.
Anyway,
that's a whole other
thing
that in different cultures, different places of the world, different places within the United States, it means different things. It looks different. It feels different. It sounds different. So I see where you're coming from, because when we talk about source, when we talk about God, when we talk about our higher selves or a higher power, it can trigger different things within different people. And I'm very guilty of this, being raised in the religion, in the Mormon religion, the LDS religion, however you want to, a religion.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it comes across that way where it triggers different things within people. So
For sure.
I don't talk to God.
Yeah.
And I don't think God talks to me, but I receive messages. So I have yet to determine who or what those messages are coming from, but I know they're coming to and through me. So I don't say that I'm receiving from the higher power or anything like that. A lot of times I'll tell people that the crystals are talking to me because that's what it feels like. And I do receive messages. I can't even tell you how many times I've had someone step into the shop, start talking to me, and a crystal on a shelf is like literally jumping up and down, like vibrating. So talking in the sense of words is not right. It's more of a message is coming to me like,
yeah,
hey, I'm over here, talk to show the customer. They might not be hearing that message, and I am. So it's my job to say, let's talk about this crystal. Those messages, the vibrations, the feelings don't come through always in words. It's more of a feeling. Hey, I'm feeling like where you are right now, this crystal would be very supportive. What are you going through? What are you dealing with? What are you focusing on right now? And let me help you understand how this crystal can support that.
Yeah.
It's never like, use this crystal and all your problems will be solved. Never.
But this is going to resonate with what you're going through right now. This is what's going to be helpful. And I do believe that the messages you're talking about, or some people will call it a download, if they're like in a meditation or in a very deep spiritual experience, it'll feel like a download. It'll feel like, and so we're talking about the crown energy center, that's almost like a doorway. And I've actually heard there are some beliefs that there is it's called like the God center behind the skull, where this is where an opening allows for messages from spirit, messages from
God,
energy, God,
Source,
angels, a higher vibration, a higher collective consciousness, if you will. So there's collective consciousness and there's collective subconsciousness. We can get into all of that another time, but it's the opportunity to open yourself up to those messages that are coming from more than just yourself. So the brow, we talked about a little bit last week, being your intuition, being like, this is something I know, but I don't know how I know, and I'm trusting myself. And I feel like that's information coming from within. But then the crown opens you up to interpret messages through the brow, through the third eye, that are coming from source or from a higher power. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to give a definition of clarity of what the crown chakra or energy center is and how that works. But yeah, I think that's what that looks like. I think that's what that feels like. And then your other energy centers, your heart, your intuition, you're interpreting what you're getting from the crystals, how they're
right. Yeah, because as I was saying, it doesn't come through as words. It doesn't say these words to this person at this time. It's more of like, a lot of times I'll get chills Like I will get chills all over my body. Someone's talking to me and they're telling me a story about something that they're going through in their life, that they're working through, that they need support with. Right. And I will literally start from the top of my head and it'll work all the way down my body, my arms, my chest, like I'm getting them on my legs. I don't know why. I think it's just the feeling of knowing that I have that connection to a higher power, because in the religion that I grew up in, this might not be the same for everybody, but for me, it was women can't receive messages directly from Heavenly Father or God, that all those messages come through men, through the priesthood, through blessings, through men, right? And
we don't have the keys.
We don't have the keys.
Which I was told, I just have to say real quick, because I think this is funny. I had a group of women that I was chatting with, good friends of mine, lovely ladies. I still love them to death, but they were members of the church. So I don't know how we got to this topic of conversation, but there's something about having the priesthood keys. And they were like, yes, it never bothered me much that women don't have those keys and that my husband has those keys for me. And it never bothered me because you know what? I get to make and carry and birth babies. And I just feel like that was my calling. I feel like that's the benefit I get. And I said, well, I can't make babies or have babies. So I get the priesthood then, right?
Is it a give and take? Is it a give and take? Is there a balance?
She was like, oh. And then, we laughed. Like I laughed, meaning like, I'm joking. I mean, like I'm obviously fine, but she laughed with me, but I was like, think about it for a second. Like just take a second to think about how that sounds to some of us. Cause I can't have children. Like, so then what is that?
So where does that put you?
Where does that put me?
Where does that
So I get to have the priesthood then, right?
A large percentage of women on this earth that deal with the same issue, that have fertility issues, that can't conceive, that can't give birth. We also don't get the keys. So we're just,
so where does that leave us?
We just float around.
I mean, that goes back to a conversation. And I've talked about this, I think, on other episodes about worthiness, about the solar plexus, which is where does your worth come? And if you're raised with that kind of underlying talk, you hear that kind of stuff your whole life. You question your worth when you aren't able to have children, and they put so much value on that as a woman, obviously separating it with the priesthood for boys and not for girls, and babies, girls have the babies, whatever. If that's kind of the message you're getting your whole life, when you find out you're infertile, there's a whole grief process that you go through that I'm still going through every day, which is, well, then where is my worth? Then how am I worthy? So it's a deconstruction of that. Right. But back to our topic. We were talking about priesthood and having that.
Right. So I've actually thought about this quite a bit on the new spiritual journey that I've been on, because when I decided to leave organized religion, I also shut myself away from spiritual things. I wouldn't allow that to come in because my experience was so negative and it felt so oppressive that I was like, if that's what it is, I don't want any of it. You can all stay away from me. And then I had an unlocking with the crystals. The crystals unlocked a part of me that made me realize I am a spiritual being, that I can have my own path and I can open myself to that option. But I think about my experiences within the organized religion and the things that they would do, the rituals that they had, and the laying on of hands. I think about this a lot because they anoint your crown with oil, and then a group of men stand around you and they all put their hands on your head.
Yeah.
And sometimes I see that as they're feeding information into you. A lot of times I see it as they're blocking the information from coming into your crown.
Or it has to go through me.
Right.
In order for you to receive it.
It goes through them, through their hands into you.
Yeah.
So they're filtering the information.
Right.
They're only allowing you to receive what they want.
Because I always felt like that was the message, was the power of God and the messages from God are all going to go through these powerful men who are above you in authority in every way, and that you will only be bestowed or blessed with it once it has gone through the right channels. And I think that was probably my biggest issue with the organized religion in general, was like, no, what if we all have a direct link to that higher power?
Right.
What if it's not like that at all? And it's not gendered. Like men can only have this and women can only have that. What if it's just every individual human being has the power to receive those messages for themselves, and that it's not going to be a message of harm to others. It's not going to be a message of, because that doesn't resonate. That doesn't resonate at the frequency of what would be God or the higher power.
Right. Right. So these are conversations that I've opened up with other people that have been on a similar journey of being raised in the church and learning these things and then having a self-awakening or awareness. For me, it was I disconnected from the religion and spirituality for a lot of years. And it wasn't like I would talk bad about anything, or it was more of just like I was living in fear. I was living in fear of having that oppressive feeling again. But what I didn't realize was I was actually oppressing myself and not allowing those messages to come through. So eventually in a crystal shop, holding a crystal, it forced me. It was like, you're here, let me give you this little message. And it was like, oh, wait. So then when we were talking about the information that I'm able to maintain and understand and process, and then also give to others when it comes to the crystals, that's where I was like, oh, I think this is where I'm supposed to be. And then leaning into that instead of pulling away and living in fear of, well, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Why me? No, someone else can do this, right? I'm not meant to do this. It was more of like, I'm going to lean into it. And there were times that I would reach out to others and be like, hey, I think I have a gift, and wait for them to solidify that for me. Oh, I don't. And most of the time I was like, really? Do you have a penis? Because if you don't, then I don't think you have a gift. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of that all around message.
It's still very much a barrier,
right?
I would say.
So letting go of what other people thought and what other people perceived of me, and just leaning into my gift. And it is a gift, and it doesn't make me special. It doesn't make me anything other than who I am. And then being able to share that with other people. So I think in this world, in this healing world, that we have to be able to do that.
As you're talking, I'm just like getting the chill. I'm getting so excited. I don't know what it is, but this is like amping me up, because what you're talking about is empowerment in your spirituality. I feel like, and it's not, I have yet to come across an organized religion that empowers people. I have not been out there looking for one. So if you know of one, please comment. Please reach out to say, hey, check this out. I'd love to check it out. But when it's organized in such a way that there is always someone who is at the top, it feels like it takes the power away. And I feel like there are organized spiritual groups that have managed to not do that, where it's like, okay, we're going to have this one person or this group of people that bestow knowledge and wisdom on you, and you can access God through them. But just empowering your spirituality to look like whatever that looks like for you. Mm-hmm. And if you can show up in a group where you're sharing that with others and you're like, this is how I do it. This is how I see it. And everyone goes, yay for you. Okay, good. Yeah. We like, that's great. And it can look different for everyone, and that's okay. I don't think there's a one size fits all with spirituality. Mm-hmm. Some people may not be into crystals, and that's okay too. I have to say, when I'm doing emotional processing sessions, we were taught and trained to have a higher power come in. And I think a lot about how, the AA program it's not religious, and you don't have to be religious to be part of it, but they do incorporate a higher power in that giving your stuff over to a higher power to take some of that burden off of you. I think that's a really powerful image. Because even if you're higher power, and you talk about the crystals coming from the earth itself, these minerals that are mined out of the earth itself, I think the earth, whether you call it Mother Earth or Gaia or whatever you want to call it, is a great higher power to think of. And you don't have to be necessarily, you can be agnostic, you can be, whatever belief you've assigned yourself, whatever. But it's like acknowledging that the very earth under our feet takes our sweat, our tears, our snot, our crap, like, and nourishes the soil, fertilizes the soil to create something out of it. Flowers and trees and food. And like, I mean, just think of that. That's kind of incredible.
It is.
When you think about
it's very incredible. It's not something that just happens. It's not.
That's just science. I mean, I'm not even talking about spirituality. That's just science. Things die and then that gets broken down and decomposed into the earth. And then the earth creates something out of that feeds us and births new life.
Right. All incredible. Of that. Yeah, and it creates these minerals, these crystals, these rocks, these stones, however you want to refer to them. And they all have an energy. Everything that comes from the earth, everything. I don't care if it's a plant, an animal, a crystal, a rock, dirt. It has energy. Yeah. It has a vibration. It has a frequency. And whether you want to harness that for yourself or not, that's totally up to you.
Just vibe with it.
Right.
I mean, even just to have a relationship with it. Not even that you have to be, because I think relationship with land is so important and how we do that. Not even to be like, I'm going to buy this crystal so I can own it, which is kind of a colonization mentality if you think about it. But just to say, I want a relationship with this crystal. I want it and me to vibe together.
Right.
I want to give it a home to come home to. And
yes. I love looking at it like that too, is I'm not selling the crystals, I'm rehoming them. And when you talk about buying a crystal to own it, I don't feel like I own any of my crystals, even the ones that I have at home that are mine, that I resonate with, that I vibe with, that I use in my own spiritual journey. There are times that pieces that I've had in my collection, I have re-gifted to people because I received the message that it's done the work that it needs to do for me. And it's time to move on to somebody else that needs that energy. And multiple times I've done that. It has never been anything magnificent or crazy. It's more of just like, this crystal wanted to come with me today. And then I end up talking to someone that's like, hey, do you know of anything that could help me with this? And it's like, yep, it's in my pocket.
Wow.
So I'm just gonna give it to you.
What do you know? And somebody maybe guided me by somebody. I mean, the thing. Guided me to put that in my pocket today for you, potentially, right? Yeah, so when I do healing sessions, I'll say, bring in your higher power to take on the things we've released in the session. And I have had some sessions where I will say, who or what do you want to bring in? So it's totally personal. It's not religious. It's just spiritual. What's your higher power for you? What you view? Because some people really do need to glean onto an archetype, like a heavenly father or Christ the Savior. Like they want that personage to be their higher power. And I think that's excellent. If it resonates for you and you feel like that's a loving force that comes in to be there with you and your inner child, it's perfect. But it's interesting because I have had sessions where they're like, oh my gosh, my Aunt Sally, my great Aunt Sally is here. And I'm like, okay, well, we love Aunt Sally. We do. And she can be there with you. If you would like her to be there, she absolutely can be there. But she cannot be your higher. She's Aunt Sally.
Yeah,
so
right.
She can't take your stuff for you. And we don't want her to have it. Right? You just pulled out. And sometimes when they're pulling visually out colors and textures that represent their heaviest stuff, it can, for the most kinesthetic type of clients, they'll be like, it looks like puke. It looks like green bile. It's just coming out like this. And I'm like, great, good. Oh, just get that out. Like, that's going to feel so good. Mm-hmm. So we're getting it out. We're getting it out. We're getting it out. And I'm like, I want to give that to Aunt Sally. No, we don't want to give that to Aunt Sally. Let's find a higher power that, for sure, if Aunt Sally is a very, comforting figure for you, she can be there, that she can support you. But we're looking for a higher power. So this is, again, where the crown chakra comes in, because it's going to be the higher power that can take on anything that you've got to give. And it doesn't harm them. They are absolutely powerful enough to transmute it completely. And you need an energy like that. So, one of the sessions, the very, very first, I want to say it was my first day. in the Institute of Healing Arts, the course that I took. It's a year-long program, and we meet every week, and we have like book reports due. I mean, it's an intense program. They're like 3-hour classes too. It was a good program. Anyway, so it was one of my very first times there. And so I wasn't ready to start processing or facilitating a process. So we were asked to sit in on a process and observe. And it was a young girl who was in her level 3. She was about to graduate, but she was there. She was like in her 20s. She was like a college student, and she was going through the process. She was being processed, and she had this amazing experience. She was very LDS, came from a very LDS family, and you could just tell, like, she probably just fresh off her mission. But she was doing this process, and she was obviously doing inner child work. She was going back to her child, and she said, the facilitator asked her, what do you see her doing? And she goes, I'm digging my hands in the earth. I'm digging my hands into the mud. And she said, she started to cry, because a lot of this is emotional processing. So you're crying. She goes, this is where God is. They lied to me. They told me God was somewhere else, that it was this Heavenly Father. This is God right here. It's all around me. And she's like, I'm putting my hands in the dirt. And I was sitting there listening, going,
really powerful.
I am shook. Like, I was just like, good for her.
Right.
And then I thought, is this going to change her way of viewing church or going to church and learning religion there? Or is this going to just amplify it for her? I don't know. I don't know how that turned out for her, but good for her.
Right.
And like, this is God. It's not some unattainable, unreachable thing, or this, the way I pictured as a kid, because you're constantly hearing Heavenly Father, Heavenly Father. So I'm like, this
dude in a white robe,
clouds somewhere. Like, he's so far away, but he's also kind of always judging me a little bit. Like,
he's always like, don't do that.
Yeah, like, girl, nope, don't do that.
No, you can't take the sacrament.
Yeah. Yeah. That transition. And it's not something that has to stay one way your whole life. Like, for me, when I first started pulling away from that idea of it's a Heavenly Father, I was like, I don't resonate with that. But Heavenly Mother? Yeah. Give me some of her, you know? And so for years, it was like, I couldn't even think about God as a God. I was like, goddess. She's so loving. She's so motherly. She just envelops me and nurtures me. And when I'm in the earth, like, you know, those times I spent in the burrows in England, we were like into the earth. We got into the burrows. I was like, this is it. This is her. She's just like cradling me in her womb. It was so beautiful. And that was my higher power for a long, long time.
Yeah. I like to think of it as a collective. I don't like to put a gender or sex or anything on it. I like it to be a collective of individual souls that come together for the betterment of humanity.
Yeah.
The betterment of the world. The whole thing, I don't like it to be one individual. And this is just for me. This is not for everybody, but this is where it's beautiful to have your own journey, to have your own connection to spirit, the collective, the source, whatever that looks like for you. And I had so many people say, not to me, but say that message, whatever that looks like for you, whatever resonates for you. And it's like being raised in a religion that said, no, it looks like this. God looks like this. And God only hears you when you're down on your knees. And God only listens when you're being selfless, or all the things where it was like black and white. So then to hear that message of whatever that looks like to you.
What does that look like to you? Yeah.
And then trying to figure that out. And
I mean, isn't that great?
It's amazing. Allowing myself to do that finally in my 40s, right? After raising my children, after all of this life experience, and going, man, I wish I had allowed myself to do this sooner, but I'm not getting caught up in that mindset of, I wish I could have. It's, I am here now. I'm going to make the most of what I have now. And I want to share my experience, my message, the message coming through me the crystals that I'm able to source and make available to whoever it is that wants to connect with me, that's where I am now. And that's where I want to focus my energy and my gift. So when we're talking about the crown chakra and we're trying to open that, a lot of my healing sessions, they'll go through my chakras and they're always like, wow, your crown is like wide open.
Yeah.
Like, awesome. I love that.
That's a good point too. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I love that I'm able to keep that open because so many times I feel like it was that closing.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're not the one. You can't receive these messages. Let me filter the message for you. So a lot of times I love that my crown is open, but my third eye gets blocked a lot. Mm-hmm. So I think receiving the messages is okay. And I can accept that, but trusting that I can portray and give people that message without adding my own. But even then, when I'm adding my own thing, that's why I'm here. That's why the messages are coming through me, right?
Yes.
So then unblocking that crown or the third eye and being able to filter that through my throat. And it just kind of like goes all the way down through the centers of your energy centers. So my crown and my root have always been like very solid.
Good. Yeah.
It's those.
That's what you want. I mean, they balance each other out.
Right.
But because you said that, I just have to point out for listeners, your crown chakra can be too open. And that is a thing too. I like to use the pendulum to like before and after a session, see, kind of take a inventory before and after. And I've had clients where when the pendulum swings at the crown, it's just like, wow, like wide open. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, you must be really good at recognizing that there's more out there, more to it than we can see in the physical sense. However, I'll ask clients, have you been suffering from headaches? Are you having trouble sleeping at night? Like your brain won't shut off, certain things like that it can affect you in a negative way to be too open, or even like social anxiety, to be able to go out into social settings or crowds and be like, wide open, all the energy is just going to come flying in willy-nilly, no filter at all. That's an issue, right? You're going to feel super anxious. You're going to feel like dizzy sometimes in public. So I do teach people how to kind of monitor that, to be like, you can work on more of a balance where you allow messages in when you want them to be in. But when you're like, I'm just out here enjoying a concert or something, I don't want to be like taking out all this in. You can intentionally close that door or say, I'm going to sleep now. I don't want all the messages from all spirits all over everywhere. Because I've had, just like incidences where I was woken up in the middle of the night feeling like someone was talking to me. They're just talking to me. And I'm like, excuse me, whoever you are, I am sleeping. And when I say talking to me, I don't mean I can hear it. It's not an audience, clairaudient type of gift, I don't know how else to describe it. It just feels like an energy. I don't know how to, it's just like someone that's not me is bombarding me with messages. And I tell a funny story where one time I had Winston Churchill say, it's my birthday. Again, you can act like that's just absolutely crazy. And like, why would Winston Churchill be talking about? I don't know. I just very clearly felt like Winston Churchill woke me up and said, it's my birthday. So much so that I had to research it. I'm like, when is Winston Churchill's birthday? Turned out it was not his birthday that day. But when I looked it up, it was his death day. Oh. And I was like, maybe he's talking about his birthday into the next realm.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, happy birthday, but please leave me alone while I'm sleeping. Boundaries is all I'm saying. Boundaries with your crown chakra is a good idea. But I wanted to point out, before we get to our crystals, this is the last thing, I wanted to just point out that when we talk about source, when we use that word source, in quantum physics, there is a source of all energy in the universe, whether you want to call that the Big Bang or you call it like however that works out. But we do know that for energy, if all things in the universe are energy, atoms and particles that are resonating and vibrating and bumping up against each other at different frequencies. If we know that for a fact, then there must have been a source that created the ripple of energy that came from that source. So we know that things like love, higher vibrational frequencies, we know what frequencies those are. and they vibrate higher, which means that they must be closest to source. So if there is a God, it may not be a person, but there is a source of all energy in the universe. And so sometimes when we resonate with that, or we say, I want to give what I have, what's lower, up to that, it means that we want the lower vibration energy stuff that we're pulling out and releasing. We want to give it to the highest vibration energy we can to block it out, to transmute it, to absorb it completely. And the source of all energy in the universe, can do that. So there is kind of a science aspect to it. I just wanted to point that out so that people who were like, what is this God and source and all that? That's not real. Well, there is actually proof of that. So
I wanted to share a really quick story talking about dreams. And this was in between my leaving the organized religion and my spiritual awakening. I had small things happen that I would just discount. I was just like, whatever, I don't know what this is coming from. I don't know why it's coming to me, or it was just like a complete discount. But one thing that I will never forget was the feeling that I needed to have a third child. It was like this really overwhelming feeling. I had 2 boys. My youngest one at the time was just over 1 year old. It was like, why am I having this overwhelming feeling that I need to add a third child to this? And opening the conversation with my husband and saying, I really feel very strongly that we have another child. And he was like, no, completely just shut it down. He's like, we're good. We have 2 healthy boys. We're good. And the message just kept coming to me. And I thought, at the time it was like, I didn't really understand, but it was like, I know I need to have a third child. And he just kept blocking and kept pushing it down until one night we were both dead asleep. And in the middle of the night, I sat straight up in my bed and looked in the doorway of our bedroom. And there was a small little girl calling me mommy. And I told him this story. And he was like, there's no guarantees. So that kind of like opened the door for him a little bit. And he was like, well, we can talk about it. But I had an IUD. So there was like nothing, steps had to be taken in order for that to even be something we could do. And then I started having issues with the IUD, right? And it was like painful. And it was something I knew. I was like, I've got to get this taken out of my body. And I remember looking to him and saying, it's up to you. I'm having my birth control removed. So until I can have another cycle, I want you to know that the responsibility now falls on you. And he was like, okay, well, and it could have the doctor said it could have even happened when I still had the IUD. I was immediately pregnant. And
the universe has ways.
But that message, like, it was such a clear message. When you talk about, this was words, this was a visible being, my child coming to me before she was even on this earth.
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah. She was like, mommy.
There's too many stories like that to discount that. The Spirit Babies, if you've ever read the Spirit Babies book, I can't think off the top of my head who wrote it, but it's a thing.
Yeah. So even now, my daughter is 19 years old. She still calls me mommy. So it still triggers that little connection that we had before she was even
to be. Yeah.
here. So when we found out that she was a girl, my husband was like, I did it right this time. And I was like, honey, it's not about this time. This is what it was meant to be.
Yes.
Right. But then we were in the throes of,
it was coming.
I was sicker than anything with this pregnancy. And it was like so many things that felt like it was wrong, but it was really just, it was part of the journey. I can look back on it now and go, oh, okay. Thank you. But it was a lot to learn, and it was a lot to understand and process. And
much like having a business.
Right. Bringing her into this world was not the easiest thing that I've ever done, but it's definitely what it was supposed to be. And I can't imagine our family without her. So those messages that come through, and little did I know at that time how available I was to receive that message.
Yeah. There's an opening and like a permission, I think, that happens. Even with people who are really intuitive that have a message for someone else, I think there's still a permission or an opening that has to happen for that to be allowed. And I do think that if the messages are important enough,
They'll come
can't be
through.
ignored. Like what you describe, I think I'm like, oh gosh. It's like the message is you need to slow down, you need to rest, and you ignore it. You keep chugging through, like burning the midnight oil. You're asking to get sick. Like it's kind of a one way or another, your body, the universe, however you want to see the energy coming at you, it's going to go. You got to listen to me. I'm going to like force you. I just keep feeling like we're going to talk about amethyst. I just keep feeling like this one over here needs
the
to
white
be.
aragonite.
Yeah.
Yes, I kept feeling that too.
Did you really? Because I kept like.
Yes. So for me, when I think of the crown chakra, it's white. A lot of people talk about amethyst, and it's a beautiful crystal for the crown. It's also a beautiful crystal for the third eye. But when I personally think of my crown, it's white.
White. Yeah. White and purple are the colors that are often associated with crown.
Right. Originally, we have the amethyst on the table. We have the description card, which is amethyst is known as the peace stone, activates spiritual awareness, relieves stress and strain, soothes irritability, balances mood swings, dispels anger, fear, and anxiety, alleviates sadness, and dissolves negativity.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful crystal for that. And sometimes I'm hesitant to refer people to amethyst because it's so abundant, right?
Oh,
Everybody knows what amethyst is. Everybody
loves it.
Even small children are like, oh, that's amethyst. But
it is kind of a one-size-fits-all crystal, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. It does so much. And it's so beautiful. And it comes in so many different shades of purple and shapes and
it's like a dart.
Sizes. It's a beautiful all-around crystal. I've really come to love it now that I've learned to understand it more. But I think when we're talking about the crown, for me personally, it's white. And this white aragonite is so beautiful. It looks a lot like coral, like that you would find in the ocean, in the sea, fish tanks, wherever you see coral.
Yeah.
It kind of forms that way. It's just so white and sparkly. And it is a beautiful, beautiful crystal. A lot of people feel very drawn to it. I try to carry different sizes and different price points, right? So right now we've got one small piece because those ones sell a lot faster. But I feel like this does connect you. If you'll grab the card for it too, it's going to connect you and support that crown center.
This is more jaggedy, but it's a smaller piece.
Aragonite is a stabilizing stone that centers and grounds physical energies and brings you emotional healing and balance. It helps ground all emotional and physical imbalances and is extremely useful in time of stress by teaching patience and acceptance. This card actually says that it's connected to the crown and the solar plexus. I can kind of see why we're both being very drawn to it. The way that our conversation has gone today is focusing on the crown, and a lot of times to open that crown and to accept the messages that are coming through, we have to heal that inner child.
Yeah.
We have to heal all of the conditioning that inner child has gone through.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to release those to then be able to trust ourselves and open the crown to receive those messages. So I love it was so interesting that we were both, because I kept looking over at it.
I know. Earlier we were talking about something and I looked over and I don't know why I thought that. I don't know. It was just like it's like kind of how you described it, like this shouting at you, like,
I'm here too.
Well, that's a good one for the crown.
Like, and it almost looks like it could be formed into a crown with how like spiky it is. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention this one too. I was just noticing this as we were getting set up. This little, she's got a great collection of different skulls here and different crystals, but this skull has this beautiful circle right around the crown. And I was like, oh, I got to point that out. That's so cool. That would be, where the crown energy center would be on your skull.
Yeah. Beautiful supportive crystals for the crown, for the third eye. A lot of times those are interconnected and work together. So let's find the crystal that supports what you're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. So if it's not the crown today, come in. The guide will help you. She will guide you to which one is just right for what you need. And part of that is also trusting your own intuition and coming here and what is drawing you in. Because when I've spent time here in the shop, I'll see customers come in and I'll watch to see where do they gravitate? What are they looking for?
And sometimes they just need that I see you're being drawn to.
Yeah.
You keep going back to. It's not, hey, you need to buy that piece because it's meant for you. It's more of just like they almost need that validation of they start to second guess themselves and going, I don't know why I keep going back to this piece. But they don't really say it, right? Mm-hmm. For us to be able to say, I see you're being very drawn to this piece. Can we talk about it? And it opens the conversation. And really all it does is really solidify what they're feeling and helps them. Yeah. Not necessarily like make the purchase, but understand what they're feeling.
Absolutely. It's good work. Good work. So come and visit Rising Moon Minerals over here at the Mountain View Village, right in front of the Cinemark, right?
Yes, entrance to the Cinemark. Yes.
Oh, there's the bus. Oh, there's my bus. I missed it. Oh, well.
Not that I've ever seen a bus come through here. That's interesting.
I know that's.
Okay.
I missed my bus, guys. That was my bus. Anyway, Rising Moon Minerals, come and check it out. You want to be in the space and come and see and feel it. Or you can go online and you can scroll around, see what's calling to you. Rising Moon Minerals.
RisingMoonMinerals.com. Free shipping for purchases of $100 or more. If you have questions, feel free to send me an email, a message. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm everywhere. You should be able to find me. Rising Moon Minerals.
Yeah, and I am Prism Healing. So go find Prism at Prism_healing on Instagram. Please give me a follow and also share that Instagram handle with as many people as you can. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers because Instagram just changed to where you have to have 1,000 followers to do lives. I know. I wasn't really, concerned about it or thinking about growing followers or anything, but then I'm like, I loved doing lives for people like card readings and stuff. Sometimes I do movement and meditation throughout the winter indoors live on Instagram for people to follow along. So now I'm really bummed. So I'm like, please go follow my Instagram so I can get to 1,000 followers. You can follow our podcast as well on Instagram at Practically Magic, and practically-magic.com is the website. We have fun October events that are still happening. So if you're local, you'll want to check that out because we're going to be doing some events. Witches Night Out together, Rainbow Magic Paint Night, using color magic to make beautiful creations and spells.
We're going to do intention jars, right?
Intention bottles for the for Witches Night Out. So there's going to be spells, tarot, food, drinks, witches, everybody dressed up. And if you're really into the Gardner Village Witches Night Out kind of deal, it's right next to the tracks. So it's actually a perfect pre-gaming fun activity to do before you hit the tracks and go to Gardner Village. So, it's great for a Witches Night Out all around. Get your witch night out on. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Sunshine Community and Ride the Wave Media, who's not a sponsor, but produces the pod. And we have to give a shout out to them because they're amazing. They do all of the background work and promotion for us, editing, producing, all that great stuff. And the team there is excellent. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, you'll definitely want to get in on a network like Ride the Wave Media. And that's all we have for today. So see you next time, witches and wizards. Go make magic.